I came to meet Sheikh Rashid in 1974 when we opened our little office in Dubai. A great man called Tim Edgar came down to run it. And a wonderful Emirati called Hamid bin Duray. I think Hamid's retired now. I haven't seen him for a while. But Hamid held our hands and told us what to do and took me along to meet Sheikh Rashid. And he said, "What is this newspaper?" We showed him copies. We said, "We want to cover Dubai." He said, "Welcome." And I said, "We'll be careful what we say." He said, "No, don't do that. Just say the right things and find the right way to say it." And that's what we tried to do.
Hind Mazaina, I work in digital marketing and photographer as well. I think my question, or maybe comment on female representation, Emiratis or women from the UAE, with so many restrictions and girls who have to take permission from their family. Maybe that explains why we don't have Emirati, authentic or genuine women represented in commercials, etc. So I'm not sure what can be done or how can one address that to have Emirati women. And I'm half Emirati, I'm half Egyptian, and even when I see a typical Emirati ad, I don't necessarily relate to it. I don't wear an abaya, I don't wear a shayla. So I think goes the question, does every single Emirati always wear abaya shayla? And just, I think, varying it and casting the net to a wider representation of Emirati women. So
I wonder how they feel about the treatment of foreign women, like low-paid maids and the city's prostitutes. I find these issues very difficult to cover in this city without government coming down to our offices and telling us not to write about these things. And I'm just curious what Emiratis think about these issues, and should there be more of this in the media?
As a photojournalist or as a fellow journalist, I think say it in the right way. You can talk about it, you can write an article, just be smart about it. Just approach it in the right way.
Well, you can't fill the paper with conditions in the labour camps week after week after week, but it's an issue we've covered in different ways. We had one of the early articles we did was there was a reporter who went down to one of the camps and spent an evening with a bunch of them there. I think they were baking bread inside an oil drum and cooking for themselves, and it illuminated their lives. But it wasn't bashing anyone over the head. But nevertheless, you read it and you understand the kind of lives these people are living. So yeah, I think you have to be clever about it.
So I'm curious to what the culture is, if it's changing in the home life for young Emiratis.
I can say, when I first decided to change my bachelor's from visual comm into photography, everybody thought I was crazy, and what kind of secure job will you have, what kind of profession is for being a photojournalist. Even when I first was hired, it was an all-men team, and everybody thought, okay, this girl will last for 2 weeks, let's not buy her any equipment. But you have to prove them different. Here I am, and now I've seen more women and men, Emiratis, going into this field. So it's just about having one positive experience, one positive story, and that will encourage a lot of people to get into that.
My name is Samar, I'm a photographer and a filmmaker. Just an observation, and I very much agree with what you just mentioned, that it's a process, it's happened around the world, and this place is dealing with it in a very short time. But I think we need to be a little bit less hypersensitive, and I don't mean just Emirati, but a lot of us who live here. Because when I travel, let's say, to the West, and I meet friends there, let's say in US, and they talk about that, hey, things are going wrong there, but they're going wrong everywhere. What's the big deal about it? If let's say, and I don't believe this thing that some journalist arrives from abroad and makes a story, because when 60 Minutes arrived from CBS out here, those guys spent 2 weeks out here and they gave amazing spin to the city. So it's okay if somebody else turns up and gives a different spin, because every society has something which is not right. And I think we should just live with it. Let's not get too hypersensitive about it.
Okay.